Hello, everyone. Hello. Yes, sir. Here we go. Hey, hey. Yes, sir. Here we go. Yes, sir. Well, you know what time it is. It's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it is on a fine Sunday. It's week 7 of fantasy football, and you know who I am. If you don't, I introduce myself. I am JT, aka the Master, and this is the Master Plan. And in this program, it's Jery Taylor. Yes, that's my full God-given name. Presents the Master Plan. And let me tell you, people, things are changing. Things are changing. And you know that. Let me tell you something here. Christian McCaffrey's on the 49ers. I know everybody in fantasy football heard that. And there's other things that are changing. Tua Tagovailoa is back, but he's having headaches. Is he going to be able to finish the game? Or what's going to happen when he takes a big hit? Because he's a quarterback. You know they're going to be coming after the quarterback. You know that. And there's other surprise development. I wouldn't say surprise, but I would say it's about damn time. Let me put it that way. When I get to that game, I'm going to let you know. And also, Russell Wilson is not playing. Mark Rypien, Brett Rypien is going to be the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. And that's interesting. Are you going to start Brett Rypien with the weapons that he has, even though that dysfunctional backfield? He's got some weapons to throw to. We'll talk about that. And also, there's a development in Baltimore. We'll talk about that. There's some stuff coming to people. There's some stuff happening that you need to know. And I'm going to try to give you the best advice that I possibly can. Best advice as I possibly can. And let's go through the lineup of games today. Week 7. You know, for most leagues, this is halfway in the season. This could be a turning point for teams. Are you 3-3? Are you 5-1, 4-2, 2-4, 1-5, 0-6? It could be a turning point, you know, because 7-8 losses ain't putting you in the playoffs. 7-8 losses ain't putting you in the playoffs. Maybe 7, 8. I highly doubt it. Unless you're in a very small league, I highly doubt it. Unless the league is so evenly spread out that 8 wins puts you in there. But if you're 1-5, 0-6 especially, you need to win today. There's no two ways about it. You cannot lose. You need to win out. You need to win out. Hopefully, I can get you some advice or give you some advice on players that will help you get over the hump and get you a win. You know, I know you have a favorite team. Most people that play fantasy football have a favorite team. Some people don't. I know of one person that doesn't have a favorite team. Doesn't really know football players. I know one, but plays fantasy football. Okay? But most people have a favorite team. And they play fantasy, quite naturally, they play fantasy football. That's the reason why you're listening here. I appreciate that. And let's go over the lineup. Let's go 1:00 games, 4:00 games, late game on Sunday night, and then a Monday night football. Let's go to the first game, and this is just by chance. I'm not just blowing my own horn here. The Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna take the home team first, and then we go to the road team. Home team, quite naturally, is the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm not a big fan of Lamar Jackson in real time, in reality football. But in fantasy, he's a very good quarterback. Okay, so quite naturally, you play Lamar Jackson. Some people say play Kenyon Drake. He's going to be the lead back. J.K. Dobbins is on IR. He had a knee surgery again, supposedly a minor procedure, but he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. In essence, his fantasy season is over. And for all intents and purposes, I try to tell you, guys coming off of ACLs and especially Achilles are not who you think they are. Let me put it that way. Are not who you think they are, regardless of the name, regardless of all the hype. And look at Saquon Barkley. That's a prime example. He was a shell of himself the first year after his ACL. He's tearing the league up now. And this is the second year after the ACL. If there's one thing, and I'm touting myself, yes, I'm touting myself, man. There's one thing I know, it's running backs. And a running back that has two types of injuries, an Achilles or an ACL, or a combination of ACL, MCL, PCL, whatever, or meniscus, the first year is not the year that you want him at all. The second year, where he's more confident mentally and physically, that's when you want him. If he's any type of good back, that's when you want him. I don't care what they say. That's you want him. That's a medical history, medical fact. You want him then. J.K. Dobbins had an ACL and LCL or MCL combination, which is really, really bad. If you have an ACL, a clean ACL tear, that's one thing. But if you have a combination of another ligament other than the ACL, that makes it more complicated. So you can't expect that. I know you like the name, but the name doesn't give you fantasy points. Production does. Okay? And we'll go through when I talk about the players that have gone through certain injuries, ACL, Achilles. I'm gonna come out and say something about it. Okay? I'm gonna let you know. I've been letting you know beginning before the season and during the season. So we'll see what happens. Okay? But don't play J.K. Dobbins quite now. He's on the IR. Excuse me. Gus Edwards had a very bad ACL injury. He's activated. Do I say Blake played Gus Edwards? No. No. I mean, he's probably going to get a part of the workload just to see where he's at in real life bullets flying. But can I tell you honestly, to play Gus Edwards? No. This is a running team. I understand people want to jump on Kendrick Drake. I understand that. And Cleveland is a horrible run defense. My team is a horrible run defense. But I can't honestly say to pay Kenyon Drake. I know people want to jump on it, and because they run a lot. I'm not a Kenyon Drake fan. He's been to multiple teams for a reason. He's been to multiple teams for a reason. Arizona, the Raiders, and now he's with the Baltimore Ravens. Rashad Bateman, I cannot. Lamar Jackson's not an accurate quarterback. So he's inconsistent. Do I think Rashard Bateman's going to get enough targets? Not really. I think the quite naturally everybody in God's name and in fantasy knows that Mark Andrews is Lamar's favorite target. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. Where is Mr. FSP?
I'm here.
I don't see your face.
You see my face, you just don't see a live face.
Okay. And the reason why?
I'm not willing to say that.
Okay. Well, whatever. Oh, God. Anyway, Mr. FSP, can you tell us about the Cleveland Browns in fantasy?
Well, I thought you were doing your stuff, but okay. Cleveland Browns. Listen, if Nick Chubb can get going, they'll be fine. I'm not playing Kareem Hunt in this game. Kareem Hunt isn't, to me, a play that'll benefit you here. Honestly, I've said it a few times, but you got to have play action pass from your quarterback. And Jacoby Brissett is a decent play action pass quarterback. If you have Kareem Hunt in there, it's possibly going to be a pass. So I think this is a play where you run Nick Chubb as much as you can to set up the pass attack. Maybe he'll get over 200 yards passing this game. Brissett, that is. Maybe Amari Cooper will get some catches and be more of an impact as opposed to hey, here you go, we're going to keep you happy type situation. Because that's what I see Cleveland doing right now. As Jery said, the run defense is not that good. So if Baltimore gets up, Cleveland's going to have to pass the ball. And that's not Brissett's strong suit. I'm not playing him. I'm not playing anybody with confidence anyway in the passing game of Cleveland, even though Baltimore has a weak secondary. If they're expecting the pass, they're going to be able to defend it well because there aren't that many threats in Cleveland. So that pretty much wraps up what Cleveland is. Cade York, he made that one big crazy kick at the beginning of the season, and he's been up and down the rest. I couldn't even tell you to play him, even though I think this could be a field goal type game.
You done?
I mean, if you not looking at the camera, I can keep going on.
Well, I'm asking you, are you finished? That because if you're finished.
Oh yeah, I'm done. I mean,
okay.
I was talking because you were looking at the TV as opposed to the camera, so I didn't know if you were ready to come back or not.
Anyway, Tampa Bay at the Carolina Panthers. I'll take the Carolina Panthers. Mr. FSP will take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is going to be short and sweet, people. This is going to be short and sweet. For those Chris McCaffrey owners who put a backup on, just in case Chris McCaffrey got hurt, they put a backup on a handcuff, either Deontay Foreman or Chuba Hubbard. The only confidence I have in halfway having a point, because the fact is Tampa Bay's a tough defense, but they got ran on last week. And I think they can get run on this week. Now, is Deontay Foreman, who's the bigger of the two backs between Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman, going to be able to do anything? If I was a Deontay Foreman and I had to listen to what I'm just saying. If I have to play a running back because I'm down to Deontay Foreman being one of my options, and you don't have a better option, then I would think of playing Deontay Foreman in the flex position. That's it. You're not expecting a lot in the flex position. If you get double digits, that's a bonus. But in the flex position, you're looking to get 7, 8, 9 points. Anything past that is a bonus in the flex position, in my opinion. It's a bonus. That's all I got for. I can't say play DJ Moore because PJ Walker is the quarterback, and he's not a. I mean, in my opinion, not an NFL caliber quarterback, but he's the only man standing right now. Sam Darnold is close to coming back. Cooper. What the heck is his freaking name now? Jesus Christ. Anyway, the other quarterback, I hate to say it like that. I can't remember the freaking name. Is not coming
Sam
back.
Darnold.
Who?
Sam Darnold.
I'm talking about not talking about Sam Darnold. I'm talking about the other one. Your boy.
Corral?
No, your other boy.
Baker. Baker's not even.
Baker Mayfield is on the IR, so he's not anywhere close to coming back. And Sam Darnold is close to coming back. And Matt Corral is still dealing with his injury. So PJ Walker is the only person standing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not playing PJ Walker, and the person that suffers in the passing game is DJ Moore. DJ Moore. He's probably the best. He's probably the best player now on the Panthers, and he's going to suffer because the quarterback is subpar. Let's move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Mr. FSP has them.
All right. A key note is that Shaq Mason, Tampa Bay's left guard, or is it right guard? I believe it's right guard. He's questionable, and he's dealing with an ailment. Now, that offensive line is already shaken up. Already. I mean, we knew that coming into the season. But these guys are coming off 2 straight losses. Tampa Bay is. A game where Tom Brady was yelling at his offensive linemen to play harder and stuff like that. If it's somebody else going at their linemen without his credibility, and a few quarterbacks like him, you probably have a mutiny on the Bounty, pirate movie. But they're going against a team that just traded away their best overall player. And I read a report earlier that said Carolina's not getting rid of DJ Moore or Burns or anything like that. And if they do, it's going to be a high price for a team to pay. But they turned down 2 first-round draft picks for Burns. And they feel as though Burns and the rest, DJ and them, are cornerstones of their franchise. I actually thought that was CMC, but I was wrong. So Leonard Fournette, maybe he gets a little bit of running room. He'll definitely catch some passes. But I'm looking at Tampa Bay going out and totally destroying Carolina. I think Mike Evans versus J.C. Horn is going to be a good matchup. But Chris Godwin is going to get his volume of targets, along with Cade Otton, the tight end. I think he's going to become Brady's new favorite target, especially in the red zone or in those situations, because the kid knows how to play, and he's young, man. He's young. His body hasn't taken the pounding like a Gronk did. So that's a guy that I would secretly have on my team. He's done well the past 2 weeks. And if you're in need of a tight end, because face it, there aren't a lot of good tight ends in the league, even though this is tight end appreciation week. Darren Waller's not playing. Dallas Goedert's on bye. So Cade Otton, here's an opportunity. Plus the defense of Tampa Bay should tee off. If you can get Tampa Bay's defense, get them. play them. They will destroy Carolina.
All right, let's move on to the next game, which is Atlanta Falcons at the Cincinnati Bengals. I take the Bengals. Mr. FSP will take the Atlanta Falcons. Play Joe Burrow. Play Joe Mixon. Play Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I saw
Higgins,
one site that said play all the offensive players of the Bengals. I'm not sure about Tyler Boyd. He's iffy. He's the type of player. He's a very good player, but unless one of the wide receivers gets hurt and doesn't start or play the game, Tyler Boyd is, I would say, an afterthought, but he's an afterthought. Plain and simple. He's not really incorporated heavily into the offense unless one of the two top wide receivers is not playing the game. So I can't say to play either Tyler Boyd or Hayden Hurst because the two big guns, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, are healthy enough to play. So the four players I say, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Mr. FSP.
I really don't have a lot to offer here. Cincinnati, look, I think they're going to shut down all the weapons. So I'm not going to advise anybody to play anyone on the opposition. I honestly believe unless the running attack picks up, there's nothing there. Honestly. So, I mean, I'm not going to tell you to play people that I don't believe in. So,
okay, that's no problem. If you don't have anybody play, you don't have anybody you're willing to put out there. No problem. Anyway, Detroit at the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott is back against one of the worst defenses in the NFL and in fantasy. Hello. It's going to be a pass fest. But Mike McCarthy, because of Cooper Rush being a quarterback, decided to finally been saying it for whatever amount of years Mike McCarthy has been the head coach, a running game. And letting the Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard cook for what and they've been successful in Cooper Rush up until last game, week 6. Cooper Rush has handled the Cowboys offense well. And what you saw last week is obvious that it was time for Dak Prescott, thank God for him to come back. And he couldn't come back to more favorable spot, even though Detroit's coming off a bye. And most teams have their next opponent coming off a bye in their crosshairs because they have 2 weeks to prepare for that opponent, basically. So, but I'm expecting Dak Prescott in this passing game, which includes CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, not so much Dalton Schultz. I got to wait to see on Dalton Schultz before I can say to play him. But CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup are going to eat. Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott against this defense is going to eat. Now, I expect Detroit to put up a strong effort first quarter, second quarter. But by the after the third quarter or when the third quarter starts, the rest of the game, bye-bye any thoughts of winning Detroit. I like those. I really, really like all those options on the Dallas side of the ball. Talk to me about Mr. FSP about the Detroit Lions.
well, DeAndre Swift might not even play, even though this was the week to target him to come back. That means Jamal Williams and Craig Reynolds should have a lot to do. Jared Goff has thrown 11 touchdowns in the NFL this year. That's 5th most in the NFL, but he's going against a Dallas defense that is pretty stout. I expect him to get sacked a lot. So in order for Detroit to use their weapons, such as Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I really have liked since the end of last year going into this year, they're going to have to run the rock. They're going to have to run the rock. I mean, Jery can smile and smirk, but coming into the year, he said Amon St. Brown was a fluke and wasn't good, and don't worry about him this year. That's what he said. But Amon St. Brown has proven to be the truth. But I don't see him or a few other people. DJ Chark just got put on IR, right? That means Reynolds, the receiver, has to step up. Remember, they got a Reynolds at running back and a Reynolds at receiver. So unless they can pound the rock with Jamal Williams and Craig Reynolds, I don't know if Detroit is going to be able to put up the type of points they did before the bye. Excuse me, before the bye, because before the bye they were averaging like 30-something points in the first half, and their defense would let people get back into the game. That's the only problem in this game. Detroit's defense, they let people get in the game, and that's going to be a problem. But fantasy-wise, I believe if and when the final signal is that DeAndre Swift is out, you play Jamal Williams with confidence. Dallas can't stop the run that well. You saw that last week versus the Eagles. So I expect Jamal Williams to have a pretty good game if he's the starter.
Okay, thank you. And also, I want to put this out there. I've said it over the last 2 weeks. I'm putting it out there for the third week. Going into maybe possibly him playing next week. That's why I said I have people that pick up and possibly playing for next week. Jamison Williams. Jamison Williams is coming off an ACL. I know. I talked about players coming off an ACL. Well, this guy, wait a minute. This guy, I'm telling you to pick him up for the simple reason that if he didn't get hurt in the national in one of the playoffs games in this past college year, he probably would have been the first wide receiver taken off the board in the draft. He's that good. Now, Dan Campbell did say that he's going to play sometime this year. No, didn't give us the timetable, but he hasn't had any setbacks. So that means that means he's close to getting back on the field in the next few weeks. I said it last week, and I said it the week before to pick up this guy, put him on the IR, put him on the bottom of your bench, and just wait. This guy, I almost guarantee you he can pay off. I'm not perfect. I don't pick every player, and it's a lock. Okay, so
well, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So this is people's fantasy season. This is the middle of their fantasy. They're trying to make it to week whatever. Let's say week 14, 15,
okay,
and win a championship. Why would you want to stash a player if you're in the contention? If you're in a contention that should play, like Dan Campbell said, should play sometime this year, but we have no exact timetable as to when to play him. Why would somebody want to do that?
because this guy's that good. This guy is that good, and the passing offense, for the most part, with the exception of last week before in Detroit, has been very, very good. Jared Goff and his pass offense, this offense has been very good. And the simple fact is, this guy, just like Jonathan Taylor of I think last year or the year before, came on late, and helped fantasy winners and fantasy champions win their league. So if you get a player that can possibly put yourself in a position of winning your league and your championship, and it's a player that a lot of people don't pick up, you pick up, and he happens to pan out, he's worth a risk. Let me put it this way: you're not losing anything if you put the guy on the bench and wait and see what happens.
Well,
He he may pan out and he may not, but you don't want to be the person that didn't pick him up and put him on the bench. You put him on the bench, he's just sitting there, and you have to wait and see what happens with him. If he's starting to get you some fantasy points and he's sitting on your bench, then you can put him in your lineup. But if you don't have him at all, you can't put him in your lineup. That's what I'm saying. Each player is a risk. And I'm just giving people some advice on what you can do. That's all I'm doing. All right, let's move on. I don't know Mr. FSP where he went. Anyway, let's move on to another game. New York Giants at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'll talk about the New York Giants also. Trevor Lawrence. This guy's been up and down. He's been up and down. You know what? I know some people want to play him, and I okay, no problem. No risk it, no biscuit. I can't trust Trevor Lawrence. I can't trust him. You don't know what you're going to get. He's played up and down. He's been played sporadic against a solid defense. He has to show me something against a solid defense. And the fact is that some people want to play him, which is fine. Okay. Like I said, no risk it, no biscuit. I'm not the type of one to play Trevor Lawrence in this situation against a wink Martindale defense, which has been stout over the last few weeks, which helping the Giants get to 5-1. I don't think so. I know they're playing at home. They usually play better at home, the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I in my opinion, I'd go a different route. But whoever wants to play Trevor Lawrence I can't knock him. Let me put it that way. I'm definitely playing Travis Etienne. Now I talked about players and coaches that want to play players because of, I don't know, loyalty or whatever, but they're coming off an Achilles. It's not a good combination of a running back coming off Achilles. I can't honestly say play James Robinson. Now, he showed great in the first 3 weeks, but I told you I'm not liking James Robinson. And eventually, Travis Etienne decided to take over the job. Is James Robinson going to make a showing? More than likely, he will one of these weeks, but it won't be consistent. You'll never know when James Robinson is going to have that week. It may be this week. It could be week 12. It could be week 5. I mean, week 16. If you're in the playoffs, you never know when James Robinson is going to get consistent touches and give you consistent fantasy points. You know that Travis Etienne up until this point is getting consistent touches and putting up fantasy points. So you play Travis Etienne. You play. If Trevor Lawrence is successful, Christian Kirk will probably be successful. That's what I say. If Trevor Lawrence is successful, and I highly not sure about that, but I'm not perfect. I could be wrong. But this Giant defense, like I said, has been playing strong, and Trevor Lawrence has a problem with strong defenses. And getting the ball to the number one receiver they paid a lot of money to, Christian Kirk. The only two players I can honestly say, if you want to take a chance and play him, is Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk. Travis Etienne, I definitely say to play him. Mr. FSP, you got the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, how I got disconnected, but
okay.
New York Football Giants, all they have is Saquon. End of story. Now, you talk about Trevor Lawrence, you talk about Travis Etienne and the others. I agree. There is some consternation there, but unless there's unless there's some sort of offensive burst from the Giants, I think all of the uh, Jacksonville Jaguars eat. Um, I if you look at, and this is something you haven't talked about, and neither have I, but if you look at Doug Peterson and his record against the Giants, he knows how to beat them. He knows how to beat them. And with a squad that he has, and they're playing at home, they're a better team at home with a good, solid defense. I'm playing.
Wait a minute. Are you
I'm
talking?
playing Jacksonville. I'm playing Jacksonville's defense, and I'm playing all of their offensive weapons. But the Giants, that's what I'm saying. They don't have anything other than Saquon. I mean, literally, I'm saying the Giants are Saquon and done. So that's what I gotta say. I would. I'm telling people, even though I got the Giants and I'm talking about, they have nothing to offer other than Saquon. You play everything Jacksonville.
Okay. Let's go to the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. I'm playing Ryan Tannehill. I know people don't like Ryan Tannehill. That's fine. That's fine. You got to take a risk somewhere. And if you're looking for a quarterback and they're playing at home, they're playing in ideal conditions. They're playing at home. I know it's a run-oriented offense. You play Derrick Henry. I know it's a run-oriented offense. But they do have to pass the ball to break up the monotony of running the football. And I'm playing Ryan Tannehill. And that's probably in a 2-quarterback league. Mr. SP, you have Matt Ryan and the Indianapolis Colts.
I mean, you didn't even mention the King. You're very disrespectful.
Wait a minute.
But I'm just saying.
Are you listening? Are you listening? Because I said you played Derrick Henry. I did say that.
Oh, I promise. All I heard was everything was Ryan Tannehill. That's what I heard. But hey, I might have missed it.
You did miss it.
Well, you throw me. Never mind. Anyway, here's the deal: the Colts. Okay, all right, Colts. You get the big bopper back, JT, the real JT. Will he show up, or will he be the JT that started the season? Because if it's the JT that started the season, it's not going to be that good of a game and not that good of a matchup for you fantasy-wise. But in Tennessee, you want to quiet that crowd, so you want to drain the clock and use that play action pass. Everything with these teams that we're talking about right now is play action pass. Michael Pittman Jr., I expect him to have a very good game. Hands down. I really do. Based upon the fact that it's going to be a play action style for these both of these teams. And if you look at everything across the board, the Colts have the better lineup. Offensively, defensively, and probably even at kicker. So here's this thing. Alec Pierce. People keep saying pick him up. He's the next best thing with Pittman Jr. He's got to catch the ball consistently for me. He's catching it, but he's not catching it consistently. He's somebody that if you're in a bye week situation, let's say Adam Thielen or Justin Jefferson or somebody like that was on your lineup, and you're like, oh man, I got to get somebody's going to get some volume. He may get volume, but the thing is, will he catch consistently? You don't play Deion Jackson. He's not even going to play. Nehemiah Hines is back as the third down back. And unless there's a problem with JT, I don't think Deion gets much run for the rest of the season. I mean, he was a great couple-week pickup, but it all depends on what JT does. Again, Matt Ryan should have a decent game. Nothing spectacular, nothing over the top. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but it's based upon the running. But that's where the money is, the running back situation. Man, you got too many things going on with your computer.
Okay. You
What's
done?
all
You
that?
you done with Indianapolis?
Yeah, your
Okay.
computer was like going crazy. I couldn't even get my thought out.
Let me have Green Bay Packers at the Washington Commanders. I'll take the home team, which is the Washington Commanders. You take the away team, which is the Green Bay Packers. You know, if it was me, I would play Taylor Heineke. And that was a rhyme, but whatever. If it was me, but that's neither near there. I played because it all in truth and for all intent and purposes. Ooh, I had trouble getting that one out. Anyway, Green Bay Packers has they're in turmoil. To tell you the truth, they're in turmoil. I know the line is 5.5. I expect the Commanders to make that closer. Brian Robinson, you play him. Curtis Samuel, play him. I feel sorry for Terry McLaurin. I really do. I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. He's got inconsistent quarterback play, which hurts him tremendously. He's a very talented wide receiver with quarterback and offensive line troubles that have trouble getting him the football. Plain and simple. That's God's honest truth. And for all intents and purposes, most teams are going to key on the number one wide receiver and taking away Terry McLaurin from having any kind of chance of success. And if you have a quarterback that is not the best type of quarterback or a very capable quarterback, then you're going to have problems getting a frustrated Terry McLaurin the football. I played Logan Thomas? No. Dyami Brown is a splash play type of guy. Is he going to have a splash play in here? A big play? You never know. He could have one.
Jay, I got to stop you. Neither of those players are active.
Okay, no problem. I know Logan Thomas is out. I didn't know Dyami Brown was. I thought
He was ruled out on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so it's Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin. I can't say honestly play Antonio Gibson. Maybe Taylor Heineke will dump it off to J.D. McKissick and be able to get some flex points. But that's all I got for the Commanders, and I give it to Mr. FSP.
We really should have switched teams because some of that stuff you said is a little off, but it's your thoughts. Because Tyler Bates is the tight end, starting tight end, and what do you say is the best friend of a quarterback in a passing game? A tight end. But in this situation, that's what it's going to be for Aaron Rodgers. 2/3 or 3/4 of his receiving core didn't even make the flight to DC. Dubs is down. Cobb is down. Watson is down. That leaves Lazard and some other guys, like fourth stringers, fifth stringers, as his receiving core. And they've only scored 10 points in the last 6 quarters. That's 10 points in the last game and a half. So they're Thunder and Lightning and A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. It's going to be a tough uphill battle, especially with Washington's defense coming up and starting to make a little bit of noise. I will say this. Both quarterbacks are in unique situations. I can't tell you to play Aaron Rodgers just because he's Aaron Rodgers, because I don't think he's going to throw the ball effectively to Allen Lazard. That's his main target now, yes, just like Terry McLaurin is Heineke's main target. But for me, I'm not going to tell you to play a quarterback and another receiver if I don't believe in the quarterback, because that just doesn't, to me, make sense. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are 4.5-point favorites in this game, but honestly, I don't see how they can get in the end zone unless they pound the rock. Now, lining Aaron Jones up outside to um, move linebackers out the way so AJ Dillon can go one-on-one with the linebacker, cool. That's good. But at some point, Washington will adjust to that. And then who will Aaron Rodgers have to throw the ball to? Robert Tonyan? Okay, not that much so. 10 points last two games or last game and a half. And what the Jets did to them on the ground last week, Green Bay's defense is like Swiss cheese. Not even the cheddar cheese like they put on your head. I again in confidence, I can't tell you to play Aaron Rodgers, nor would I ever tell you to play a receiver if I don't believe in the quarterback. But I will tell you to play AJ Dillon, and I will tell you to play Aaron Jones because that's where they're going to have to make their money.
You done?
That's it.
All right, now let's move on to the New York Jets at the Denver Broncos. First off, you play the Denver Broncos defense. You played it. You played the Denver Broncos defense. They've been the most consistent side of the ball on than the Denver offense. They've allowed less than 16 points. I think it's less than 16 points a game, and they're going up against the Jets, which is not a high-powered offense. And for the most part, they have a dysfunctional backfield now. You don't know who's going to get what. Supposedly Melvin Gordon's a starter, but he was a starter last game, and then he got set down. Hello. So the Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach, can who can spell incompetence? Okay, that's what I'm saying. I have no confidence in any Denver offensive weapon. No confidence. Because the fact is, they have Brett Ripien. You don't know what you're going to get from that. They have a decent Jet defense that's going to get pressure on Brett Ripien to get the ball to what? Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Greg Dulcich. Come on. There's no way I would play. And that's fine. There's no way I would play a Denver offensive weapon with a quarterback that's unproven.
So
coming into this, he's they did beat him last year, if I'm not mistaken. Denver did beat him last year as Brett being the quarterback, but I can't see history repeating itself. And Brett having a very good game. I mean, he could, but he doesn't have my confidence now, and neither do I have any confidence in any Denver offensive weapon. Mr. FSP, you got the Jets.
I'm gonna take the Jets, but I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What made you change your mind? Because yesterday on Fantasy Sports and Politics, Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, you said the complete opposite for Rippin. You said the complete opposite.
I was trying to get you to get him.
Of course you were. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something. Jery is a snake oil salesman. Look, and again, I don't listen to him a lot because he's a snake oil salesman.
Wait a minute. Let me tell you. What did I say yesterday?
Oh, I know. All's fair, love, war, and fantasy. I got it. But don't give out fake and false information on my show. That's what I'm looking at. The fake and false information you put out on my show. Because that there.
No, well, your show wasn't fantasy. Your show
it was because we were talking about fantasy players. But that's okay. I understand that. You gave out fake and false information on my show to hinder me, even though I already picked who I was going to pick. Ain't no one where I was going to pick up Ripping. But that's okay. Jery is a snake oil salesman, ladies and gentlemen. But the Jets have finally gotten rid of.
Don't transform your name that your league mates gave to you to.
Oh, no. Don't even say league mate give me a name because I call you Snake Oil. I call you Snake Oil, not a snake. But we know what your name is. I don't want to say it on your show, but I can. If you want to bring up team names. But the Jets.
Well, my team name is Brent Bitch. Okay,
Brent's bitch, not Brent bitch. Brent's bitch.
well, whatever.
But let me
Okay,
move on as I
okay.
was trying to.
Now I put it
Uh,
out there. So
the,
what are you gonna
that's
do
good.
now?
Nothing. I don't care.
Okay, I don't care either.
The Jets are Jerry's former team. I'm willing to say that now because they're actually winning. Because any team that Jerry follows, they go to crap. I got proof. I got 14 years of proof. But the Jets, he said they're not high powered.
They are. They
I
aren't.
would say it depends on your version of high powered, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at what they're doing with Brees Hall and Carter, they've got a 1-2 punch that's dynamic, which is setting up opportunities for, unfortunately, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago on my show, which is FSP show, Fantasy Sports Politics, every Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturdays. I don't know why Mr. Wilson does not like throwing to Garrett Wilson. He likes throwing to Corey Davis. But in this matchup, it's a very good opportunity to see what Zach Wilson can do in that mile high weather. I mean, mile high, if I can get it out, mile high air with those weapons at wide receiver and the running game. Not to mention the defense is really coming together. Some people, even Bill Cowher, said that the Jets defense is starting to look like the 49ers defense when he was the coordinator. And it's true. A beast at defensive tackle, a couple beasts at linebacker, and your secondary is really good. My namesake, Sauce Gardner, is actually doing some good things up there in New York, New Jersey area. I think the Jets have weapons that you want to play this week. I can't say play Garrett Wilson because, as I said, Zach Wilson, for whatever damn reason, don't want to use that big body target, man. It I'm befuddled. I'm really befuddled by that. But
I'm not.
they're winning,
I'm not.
and they're not the Jets of Jerry's age and time. They're actually winners.
Yes, they are winners. And the fact is, every quarterback has a favorite wide receiver.
Yep.
And it just so happens that Corey Davis, the wily veteran, is a favorite target of Garrett Wilson. I mean, not Garrett Wilson, but Zach Wilson. So it is what it is. And then we move on. Houston Texans coming off a bye. Las Vegas Raiders coming off a bye. I have the Raiders. Mr. FSP have the Houston Texans. You play Derek Carr. You play Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and your kicker, because they're going to be in position to score, whether it's touchdowns or field goals. They'll be able to move the football up and down the field at home, and they'll be able to score some fantasy points through the kicker. That's probably the only time I'm going to say that, and I can't guarantee. We have to go down the rest of the lineup, but I can see the Las Vegas Raiders with both teams coming off a bye, but the Raiders playing at home. That Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and their kicker, through Josh Daniels, the head coach, have, I would say, knocked out the kinks, gotten themselves together, and present themselves to the Houston Texans in a strong way in fantasy. Mr. FSP, you got the Houston Texans.
Yet again, another former Jerry's team that is starting to. I don't know if they're going to turn the corner or not, but they've got the pieces. Mr. Pierce is a really, really talented back. He's a bruiser. I don't know how many years he's got left in the NFL with that running style, but he's going to be a blue chipper, as the old folks would say back in the day. Here's the thing, though. Vegas needs to win this game, and Houston really doesn't have that chemistry for whatever reason between Cook and Mills. They're okay, but they're not that dynamic duo. Nico Collins isn't panning out just yet. Maybe he needs another year. Who knows? Uh, and that defense, it's not that bad, but it's also not that good. I will tell you that when I look at the games and I see what goes on with Houston, I'm like, okay, a couple simple option routes for these players will help Davis Mills get more yards fantasy wise. It will help the receivers become um, bigger threats. I can't really tell you to play them. OJ Howard had one good game, and those were touchdown dependent, and that was the first game of the season. So I can't even tell you to play the tight end. But Houston might give him a rough go of it because Lovie Smith is a defensive minded coach and he has a pounding running back. So Pierce is the only guy I really can tell you to play in this game. And they're going to slowly get over that Jerry jinx. The Jets are starting.
All right.
Hopefully Cleveland does it soon.
All right. You finished?
Yeah.
Okay. Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Chargers. I'll take the Chargers. Mr. FSP will take the Seahawks. Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler. If Keenan Allen plays, you play Keenan Allen. He's on a question mark. We'll find out in another half hour if he's actually going to be activated or not. If not, then Mike Williams is a strong play. If Keenan Allen does play, Mike Williams is a iffy play. Let me put it that way. Gerald Everett is a definite play. If Keenan Allen it plays or not, Justin Herbert and the history of the LA Chargers, and I keep saying this over and over. I'll say it over and over. They like throwing to the tight end. They love throwing to the tight end. And Gerald Everett has been coming through week in and week out. And with that being said, I'll move it over to Mr. FSP and the Seattle Seahawks. Hello? Hello?
You hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened, but Kenneth Walker is a bruising running back. If you've seen him run the ball over the past couple weeks, and in college, you know he's tough to take down. That's their offense. They're actually playing the way Pete Carroll likes to play. Run the rock effectively, set up play action pass, get the ball to the tight end, let your receivers catch like a decent pass and take it the distance. Seattle is in a way that is pretty good right now. Unfortunately for me, because I didn't think they were going to do crap. Neither did Jerry. I dare him to say he did because neither one of us did. But with that being the case, the Chargers are kind of nicked up, and I think this is going to be a closer game than initially thought. Geno Smith, I don't play him. Geno's that fun-loving guy right now that you can say, yeah, he's got like a couple good games, and yeah, Geno's real. No, he's not. We know what Geno Smith is. We have 8 years of film on Geno Smith. So hang that up. Kenneth Walker, DK, and like Jerry likes to call him, the up and down Lockett. You know, he was down last week. Might he be up this week? Nah, not against this secondary. I think the secondary is going to hit him pretty hard. I think they are. But that's all.
All right, move on to the next game, which would be the Kansas City Chiefs at the San Francisco 49ers and their newly acquired running back, Christian McCaffrey. I'll go to the quarterback first. 2-quarterback league, you play Jimmy Garoppolo. 2-quarterback league, you play Jimmy Garoppolo. For the simple fact is that this Kansas City Chiefs team can be passed on. Do you play Christian McCaffrey on his first game with his new team? Yes. They said he's going to play him and give him certain packages. How can you not? I mean, you're damn if you do, and you're damn if you don't. So you might as well put him in the lineup and hope for the best and see what happens. If you put him on your bench because he's got a new team and your thought process is that he's not going to be able to learn the plays in a few days that he's been there, and he gives you really good fantasy points, then you're going to be kicking yourself. So you put him in there and hope for the best. And then you can't expect a lot because the fact is, this is a new team. He's only been there a few days, and he may not be able to grasp a lot of the playbook in order to be effective. But you play him anyway because he's Christian McCaffrey. And the fact is that it only takes one big play for him to give you some valuable fantasy points. And they run the football, which is what he does. They got Deebo Samuel, and they got Christian McCaffrey. Two same type of players, two versatile players that can run and can catch the football. I play Christian McCaffrey. Now, I play quite naturally Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk, I think he's going to be able to benefit from a more run team. I wouldn't say run heavy, but more of a run team, and be able to get open along with George Kittle. They got a lot of weapons. They got a lot of mouths to feed, and Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the one to feed them. Mr. FSP, you got the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are late to the party and tardy, Isaiah Pacheco is slated to start for Kansas City. Looks like Clyde Edwards-Helaire's shots at being the starting running back are behind him in Kansas City. That tells me they're going to a bruising style. They're going to try to run the rock versus this defense. After all, they're taking a book out of what Atlanta did last week. They just ran the rock through the ball 14 times. That's what Atlanta did versus the San Francisco defense, which was banged up. Still is banged up, but Nick Bosa should be returning, but Nick Bosa isn't the run-stopping lineman. Okay? So just keep that in mind. But Pacheco is a guy that we both feel is a difference maker, especially in this offense. Pat Mahomes, of course. It's National Tight End Day. If you don't play Travis Kelce, something's wrong with you. I'm surprised JT didn't say anything about George Kittle having a big game, especially with National Tight Ends Day. But these are the two guys, along with Greg Olsen, who began the whole tight end university or tight end, whatever it is. So they're going to be featured pretty much in this game. I cannot tell you to play Hardeman or Juju or Valdez-Scantling because you never know who these guys are freaking going to get the ball in Kansas City other than Kelce. You don't. Last week it was Valdez-Scantling or Hardeman. I'm sorry. Hardeman. He got the most targets. Valdez-Scantling got nothing. Before that, it was Juju Schuster. So I don't know, man. I just don't know. You get a lot of messages when I'm talking, don't you?
All right.
Because apparently they don't message you when you talking. But wow.
Anyway, let's move on to Pittsburgh and at Miami. You know what? This pains me to say it. I know people are tempted because he's back, but I can't honestly tell you to play Tua Tagovailoa. He's dealing with headaches, but he's cleared concussion protocol, but he's dealing with headaches. What happens when he takes a big hit? And he's a quarterback, so he's going to take a big hit sooner or later. Sooner or later, he's going to take a big hit, and I can't honestly tell you to play Tua Tagovailoa because I don't know if he's going to last this game. That's going to be probably the ongoing thing with Tua. Will he last this game or the games that he plays in the future? You play Tyreek Hill because he's pretty much the center of the offense, along with Jalen Waddle. And Raheem Mostert seems like he's the number one back, not Chase Edmonds, not any of the other backs. It seems like uh, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with this Mike McDaniel's offense wants to pass the football, and I wouldn't say an afterthought, but use Raheem Mostert as an afterthought, plain and simple. Otherwise than that, I cannot consistently tell you to play any other option because they're too inconsistent. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and I'm skeptical on Tua Tagovailoa. Mr. FSP, you have the Steelers.
The Steelers. They came up and surprised everybody and defeated Tampa Bay pretty decisively. I think Jerry made comments about this a week or so ago, but he gave the passing order for Kenny Pickett, and he was right and wrong. He was extremely wrong about Chase Claypool because Chase Claypool got the majority of the targets last week and performed the best last week. But he was right about Pickens. Pickens is a guy that gets targets from him. He just wasn't the number one target. A guy that didn't play. And Claypool might have been a recipient of Pat Freiermuth not playing. So we can caveat that. Freiermuth plays this week. Will that be a difference in Claypool's play or his production? I don't know. It could be. It really could be. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you're holding on to Najee Harris, that's because you're in a keeper league. I would trade him if I had him at this point. Get what you can for him. At the beginning of the season or the preseason, I made a bold statement. And so far, so good. That Najee Harris is a guy that you don't want to draft, even though he's going to be top 10 worthy. I think me and Jerry talked about it on the show where we broke it down about the offensive line. The offensive line still didn't look good last week. Now they're going to Miami. Miami has a very good secondary. They're very difficult to pass against. But if passing is their thing, running is what's going to have to help save Pittsburgh. And right now they can't run the ball. They just can't. So yes, you play Pickett, you play Pickens. I'm not gonna say play Claypool because I don't know if Freiermuth's absence was a product of his productivity, but you play Freiermuth in this game.
You done? Hello?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. Well, you're in and out, so I don't know where you're at. So that's why I'm asking. Hello. Okay, let's go to the Patriots hosting the Chicago Bears. I have the Patriots. Mr. FFP has his Bears. I can't honestly say play Mac Jones. I know Mr. FFP is not a favorite of Mac Jones. He would rather have the Zappy, but that's okay. From what I understand, that Mac Jones is going to resume his starting role. Is that going to be a benefit to Jacoby Myers, who benefited from Zappy throwing him the football, or does Mac Jones go in a different direction? Remember, I said each quarterback has a favorite wide receiver that they like to throw to. Does that continue to be Jacoby Myers, or is it going to be Devontae Parker or the young gun, Tyquan Thornton? Now, Tyquan Thornton had a decent day last week, but I'm looking for consistent play from players that are going to be consistent week in and week out, not just 1 week wonders. So I'm saying play Jacoby Myers because he's been more than a 1 week wonder. He's probably probably going to be a an option. but how consistent of an option is going to be Tyquan Thornton. I like Jacoby Myers a lot in this game. Hopefully, Mac Jones does too. And I'm not leaving him out because I'm just saving the best for last, and that's Ramondre Stevenson. Is supposed to be playing. Is supposed to be playing. Does he resume what he's been doing the last few weeks? Because Damian Harris is supposed to be playing, or does Damian Harris take that lead role and Ramondre takes a secondary role? I'm playing Ramondre Stevenson until I hope he takes the lead role in here and has relevant fantasy points. I think he's the better back of the two, and that's why I'm saying play Ramondre over Damian Harris. Mr. FSP, you have the Chicago Bears.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chicago Bears. It's not much I can say, although I do love the running back tandem of Malik Herbert and David Montgomery. The only problem is Justin Fields has been taking some hits. Washington beat his ass. Washington literally beat his ass a couple Thursdays ago. The difference is he threw a lot more balls. But what I noticed is he's not taking the chance of throwing the ball to the players when they're NFL open. And if you watch the Fantasy Sports Politics show on yesterday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 10 a.m. Pacific Time, I did a visual representation of what I'm talking about. NFL open is like you got to step on somebody. And when you have open space in front of you, the quarterback should lead the receiver to that open space. So the DB doesn't undercut him. That's the problem I have with Justin Fields right now. Is he running the ball effectively? Yes. So if you're in a PPR and you're not really looking for Justin Fields to give you much in the passing game, you will get it in the run game. You will get a run game because he's going to run the rock. And he's going to take a pounding. Unfortunately for him. Bill Belichick, we know Fields isn't a rookie. But if he couldn't decipher the defense of Jack Del Rio, he's going to have a problem deciphering the defense of Belichick's son, who learned from his daddy. I'm just telling you, be careful with Justin Fields. Darnell Mooney's on waiver wire. That's somebody Jerry and was high on in the summer. I was okay with it. I was like, he's a speed guy. But the problem is they're not using his speed. He's on the waiver wire pretty much everywhere now. He shouldn't be on your team. Get somebody who's being more productive. And Cole Kmet? What? Really? Really? They're not even throwing that guy the ball. Not at all. I've seen him on more. I picked him up and dropped him 3 times in 3 different leagues. That's how unproductive he's been. And it's not his fault. But I'm not playing him unless I have to. And I don't have to. That's it.
Okay. Well, people, thanks for joining me, Mr. FSP. We're at the end of this show, and it looks like the next fine week of week 7 is upon us. And good luck in your fantasy leagues, and good luck, Mr. FSP. See ya.
Wait. Can I?
What do you what?
Well, I was going to say thank you for wishing me good luck, especially since we're playing each other.
With Best Buy to show you guys.
Say again?
I said I was going to thank you on your show for wishing me luck, especially since we're playing each other. That didn't come up at all during the show. I thought that was going to be a topic of discussion.
No.
But
no, it wasn't. I mean, I said what I said last week, and yesterday, and it's another matchup.
okay.
I wish you good luck. You just said I don't wish you luck. I said no problem.
Well, like I said today, I've had a change of heart, I've had a change of heart.
Okay.
I would like to say, well, somebody's talking to you, but I would like to say, Jerry, I want to interrupt your conversation. I think that's your wife. I want to. You want to talk? I mean, can you talk? I know you're talking to your wife.
Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say on your show, I really appreciate you wishing me luck. Because that shows a sign of good sportsmanship. You know, I really appreciate that, even though you sold snake oil on my show.
I wish you good luck on your show.
I
mean,
know you did. I know you did. I'm just talking about your analysis to the listeners, but it's okay. But with that being said, I want to wish you success in all the leagues except for neighborhood street football. That's the only one I wish you to have the worst luck ever. But
okay.
in all your other ones, like your nephew and everybody else, by all means.
Well,
Good luck.
let me tell you something, people, and I'm being 100% transparent. I'm telling you, I'm being 100% transparent. Okay. In every one of the leagues that I'm in, except for the one we're both in, as co-owners, I'm projected to lose.
Really?
In every league,
Wow.
I'm projected to lose. So it is what it is. I don't, like I said, I don't pay attention to projections. I can see what I'm going up against in all my leagues. And some leagues I have a better chance of not losing. In other leagues, I don't have a chance of winning. And it is what it is, people. I always say that. You can only put players on your teams that you think are going to give you the best points, to give you the best chance of winning your matchup. Otherwise than that, you have no control over what happens. And all you can do
Wow.
is say good luck and hope for the best. Expect the worst and hope for the best. Let me put it that way. And it is what it is. So, hey,
Well, okay,
that's
I got a question for you.
yeah.
Since you made that admission, which is very brave of you.
I'm totally transparent.
No, I didn't say you.
You fail to believe that, but that's okay. No
Yeah,
problem.
I mean, it's hard, but what's the common denominator in those leagues? What players are the common denominators on your team?
Look, it's not just one player. It's a
I didn't
combination.
say one. I said players.
It's a combination of players. I mean, I have different lineups in each league. I think Christian McCaffrey is in all three of my teams that are not with you. That's the common denominator, Chris McCaffrey. Plain and simple. All the other cast of characters, are relatively different. So the combination of players on each one of my rosters comes up to the fact is that I may be losing all my matchups.
Wow.
I mean, that's the reality of it. It is what it is. I mean, like I said, you could put the players in that you think are going to give you the best chance to win, and then you just watch the games and see what happens. They may exceed, they may not exceed expectations, but at least you shot your best shot. That's all I can say. At least you shot your best shot, and it is what it is. I don't take it to heart. I just,
but it's about the points. It's about the points.
It is about it is about the points. That's exactly it. If you have one more point than the opponent, you win. If you have one less a point than the opponent, you lose. This is definitely about the points. So it is what it is. I'm not going to fret over it. I just go to the next week and try to set my lineup to win the following week. It is what it is.
Interesting. All right, old man.
All right. So best of luck to you. Best
Oh,
of
I'm gonna
luck
kick your ass. So
to the fantasy teams that you're playing. This is week 7 of the second week of bye weeks. plan accordingly, and do your best. And with that being said, see ya.
Deuces.
All the stuff that I've found